So Banyan, what we do is we offer services for veterans, active duty military, and their families across the country. We service those who struggle with mental illness, substance use, and eating disorders. We um, we want to capture these folks while they're at their lowest because, as far as we're concerned, we want to serve those who have served. And sometimes when those who have served, they go through a lot of struggles, and they find themselves in places they never thought they were going to be, and that's where Banyan comes in. Being a former military spouse, it has always been my passion to help the family members and those that served in the military. And though Banyan does have a programs that for those that are in the military or veterans that were written by a veteran who's also an LCSW, who is also in recovery himself, we do service the entire population. Though we found that there were a lot of veterans that were really struggling and didn't necessarily want to disclose some of the information because they wanted to be apart, if you will, from those in the civilian population, because a lot of folks in the civilian population they cannot understand the depths of what they've done when they were overseas, and so we found that it was very interesting that when you get veterans together, they click, and with that, they felt that it was a needed service for our veterans as well as our active duty. I joined Banyan. It's funny. So I joined Banyan many years ago, and at the time, they didn't have a veteran program. My specialty, though, I service those in the community, coming from a military family and being in the military or affiliated with them for well over 26 years. Those are my people, and I felt very compelled to helping. And so at the time, Banyan did not have the program available to the veterans. So many years later, as I mentioned earlier, Banyan brought on a team member that is a veteran, who has written all of the programs for veterans and is also a licensed clinical social worker and is too also in recovery. So this person can identify with the feelings, with what's going on with that veteran. And so when Banyan decided to launch the Military and Veterans in Recovery program, they took the time to recruit people with military ties, and to build this program and then to launch it. And so one morning I was kind of feeling like, where do I need to go? And so in my spirituality, I said, I could either ride this until the wheels fall off or open up the door of opportunity. And inside of an hour, Banyan called. And they said, we weren't ready for you then. We are ready for you now. Will you please come home? And at that point, I knew Banyan was where I needed to be. I care about our community, and the why is because there are a lot of folks that struggle, and there are a lot of situations that happen in life. I have a past myself. I struggled with depression for many years, and that depression took me to very dark places. And when I went through those dark places, I found myself contemplating suicide, not once but twice. I'm grateful to say that I'm a two-time loser. Because it didn't work, and I'm grateful for that. And what I come to realize is that it was just a season, And then after much needed therapy and time, I was able to regain my strength and really see things from a different perspective. I went back to school. I got my degree in psychology, and really had a passion for people who are struggling, because as far as I'm concerned, we should never have 22 a day for our veterans, much less across our community. And so that kind of gave me a purpose. That's my why. My why is to be there for that person when they're at their lowest and they need to reach out to somebody. My why, and I tell folks, call me at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning if you need me. I won't deliver a pizza, but I will sit there and talk with you if you need to talk to somebody, because I feel that there's, like I said, it's just a season, and so if I can be there for that person, it's important for me to do that. And so I do that through community outreach. So I go to council meetings, I'm in festivals, I go to schools when they do, professionals day at the schools. I'll go and talk with the children. And I'll explain to them what I do, and it's very fulfilling. And I can't tell you how many times I've been at a grocery store, and I'll have somebody come up to me and thank me for what I did for their child, and I may not remember every single name, but I remember a lot of stories, and it's very rewarding. If somebody is in crisis, or if somebody suspects that their family member or loved one are in crisis, pick up the phone, call somebody. Don't be afraid to have that conversation with them if you feel or suspect, because how many times when it was too late, folks said, I thought I saw this, or I thought I saw that, and you could see the signs after the fact. But after the fact is too late. So when you see that person is struggling, I'm also a certified mental health first aid instructor, and I take very good, big joy in doing that, because it really does prepare people, because it could be for anyone. If they're in a Walmart or a Target or the local mall or a restaurant, and you start to see somebody digressing, everybody goes out and they get, their Red Cross certification for, CPR, which is vitally important. But what about the mental health side? Because you can't see what they're thinking. You can't feel what they're feeling, but you can certainly start to see some of those signs if they start to have a mental health crisis. But to answer your question, pick up the phone, have that conversation, go to somebody that you trust. I say, gather some people to have your six, if you will. Get somebody that you trust and say, what, if you text me and I don't answer you within 24 hours, you have my permission to come to my house and check on me. If I call you or if you call me and I don't answer you in a certain amount of time, you have my permission to come and do a welfare check on me. Because it may be that person needs your help, but they're just not going to pick up that phone because it weighs 500 pounds to them. So I often tell people, if you'll see those signs, if they're overly happy, out of character, there's something not right. If they're giving away their prized possessions, their Mustang, their 1969 Mustang to, somebody, there's something not right. Those signs are there. Pick up that phone. So Banyan's Reach, we have a department that's dedicated to our online marketing. So they do the online marketing via like Google search. They have on our website, they have like a chat if somebody were looking. The online marketing has their own little thing that they do. It's a little bit out of my reach, which is why I partner with you to extend that. But we use billboards. We have field marketers. We brochures, and all of those numbers have a tracking number, so that way we know the source of which when those phone numbers come in. For instance, I have my own toll-free number. So if you were to give out 50 of my cards and 10 people call, those 10 people are going to call my toll-free number, and they're going to say, oh, this is, of the efforts of Joanne, who was at so-and-so festival, and so our reach is pretty far. We use, we definitely do some commercials. We utilize YouTube, and we utilize companies such as yourself, VetCV, because we want to get the word out there. And so it's important to get that word out, because what? Somebody is looking online at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and we want to be able to be available to them when they're looking online. So we use organizations such as yours, VetCV, to if that veteran or family member is looking on VetCV and they start scrolling down and looking for mental health services and they see Banyan there, then we're collaborating to help that individual, and that's why it's important to me. So I feel very comfortable and confident in VetCV, in collaborating with VetCV because I love your mission. I love what you stand for. Um, a veteran out there helping the services to provide services for other veterans out there. It takes a village. Iron sharpens iron. And I feel that collaborating with VetCV is going to help for resources for those veterans out there. And sometimes they just want to be heard. And they don't trust a lot of organizations. They don't trust to go right down the road. They want to go to another veteran because of the fact that only a veteran knows what that veteran is going through. And so and sometimes it's just a matter of like minds. you know um, I feel that oftentimes when I'm talking with a veteran, that person says, I went to ABC um, Resource Center and they had nothing for veterans. So I want to collaborate with VetCV because I feel like with together our span will be able to reach more and more veterans, and hopefully, we can reduce those numbers. So I met Niels and his team, and I've been over to the to where everything happens, and I can see where there's a lot of moving parts from, the outreach team to the marketing team to the graphics team to those that are putting the software together and the ideas. I mean, like every time I speak with Niels, he has another idea to how um, to open up for more veterans to be able to use the services and take advantage of the abilities out there. And one of the things I can share, I find that VetCV is um, a phenomenal service because I can't tell you how many veterans that I work with personally that have lost their DD 214, that have lost some of their documentation due to homelessness or because of something that's going on, that they can benefit from VetCV on a personal level. I feel that Niels and his team are very solution focused, and if when something is identified as a potential problem, I feel like they act on it quickly. um, I also feel that whenever I call, Niels answers, and that's important to me as somebody who wants to brand the services that we have to offer. It's important to me when I'm collaborating with Niels and his team that if I have a concern, he answers, and so but more importantly, that if a veteran calls, he answers too. On a personal level, I feel I can see where VetCV would be of a huge benefit to those out there uh, using their services on a personal level. I recently had a fire. My house was struck by lightning and caught fire, and it just so happened that I had everything in my garage because I was renovating. Um, and I lost pretty much everything. And, so when I spoke with Niels about it, I had mentioned, it would have been great if I had VetCV because all of my personal documents would have been safeguarded. Now, I will say, luckily, I did have some of those personal documents safeguarded. However, I have no idea what else I've lost at this point because it was just, the fire took everything. So this is why I mean, I can't speak enough to VetCV as to why it would be so important to at least, look into the services that they have to offer because this can happen to anyone, and in a moment's At just any moment, something can happen and you can lose all of your paperwork, all of the things that are important to you in just one moment. The why. Why do we do what we do? I feel like it is my mission to help those veterans. Um, they have sacrificed their their lives. They have gone overseas. They have sacrificed relationships. They have sacrificed so much for us. And when a veteran comes back, it's amazing to know the things that veterans go out there and they see things and they experience things, and then they're told to come back here and assimilate into the community. Well, how do you unsee some of the things that you've seen over there? How do you unsmell some of the smells that you've experienced over there? And how do you come back and assimilate into a community that was, it's just not the same, and if it's a little bit of time and spending with these individuals to help them at least to get to some sort of normalcy after, then if I can help one, it was worth it. Of course, I'm selfish. I want to help them all, but I feel like services like Bayan collaborating with VetCV is just one of the ways that we can do that. To get out there and be that answer to that person, for that person, and so that's my why. Every morning when I wake up, the first thing I say is thank you. And then I lead into, and may I be the answer to somebody's prayer and a miracle in somebody's life. We're here to help, and I want to be a helper. I've always been a helper. And I feel like VetCV is here to help as well.